And good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Pandemic Parenting Summit 2021. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Sunday morning. This is day 2. So if you missed day 1, it's okay. Don't worry. We got it all up recorded. So we had 5 speakers yesterday. We have 5 speakers again today. A great variety of topics from a variety of professionals and experienced individuals. And this morning, this is all thanks to our very own Karen Gibson, who organized this amazing summit and this really a free resource of information for parents, caregivers, and anybody dealing with children. So without further ado, here is Karen to kick off day 2.
Thank you so much. I'm still wearing my birthday lei. What a great way to bring in year 57. So today is going to be, cross your fingers, guys, Wi-Fi wonderful day, because yesterday, those of you who weren't here, Spectrum decided to go off the minute the summit started. Yep, 10 a.m. And they decided to, of course, come back on after the summit ended. But we pulled through, used the phone, Data, Mello, and Des became my co-hosts, and everything went fine. So I'm so excited to present our first speaker. We're opening it up. Is Jeff here?
Recording.
Well, we'll wait for Jeff to arrive, but we are going to show his presentation. Every speaker videotaped their presentation, and then we'll have a Q&A after. If their presentation was longer than 10 minutes, then they will give you an opportunity to ask questions via chat, and we will get back to you. You can either email me at Karen@lettinggowithaloha.com. You can even text me, 808-306-5374. So let's start. Jeff Martin was introduced to me by Deslin Hawkes, my empowerment coach, and he is amazing. He's from Toronto, Canada, best-selling children's book. Look him up on Amazon. Brothers from 6, Sisters from the 6, role models in my community. Also, another bestseller is New Me, capital K, capital N, lowercase EW, New Me, 10 Men, 10 Stories of Perseverance. 15 plus years in law enforcement, father of 3 sons, motivational speaker of the decade. He is just amazing. He'll teach you how to change your mindset. We have mindset strategist Mello coming from Kauai, but Canada is just amazing. And so without further ado, here is Jeff Martin's presentation. Sorry.
Wrap around furniture. There is a string of things that you can use. There's tape that you can use to tape up boxes. There's a ton of things that you can use that's going to help you move. Now, this bag that's in the back of the moving truck, it's held together by a tag. And if you break that tag open, you can take one item, you can take all items. But when you break that bag open, it's going to cost you $50. Now, the moving truck that I got, when I went to the truck to inspect it to make sure it was okay, I noticed that there was a bag in the back of the truck, but the bag was empty. I was in a rush, so I took the truck out. I came back, totally forgot about the bag. I gave the keys over. They said, Mr. Martin, was everything okay? I said, yeah, everything was fine. Thank you. About a week or so later, I received a new charge on my credit card for $50. When I called the company, I said, listen, I didn't use the stuff in the bag. They said, Mr. Martin, listen, this is all we know. All we know is that you are the one that rented this vehicle. It was under your name. And when it came back, all the items in the bag were gone. And you're welcome to use them, but you have to know that it's going to cost you $50. I pleaded with them and told them that I did not use those items. And in fact, it was empty before I got the truck. But they said, Mr. Martin, all we know is that you are the one who brought this truck back and the items are gone. So I was left holding a bill for $50. Holding a bill for something that I didn't even use. Holding a bill that was passed down to me, that I inherited, even though I didn't ask for it. In our own lives, oftentimes we get passed down bills from generations before us. Now, it's kind of cool if that bill is the recipe for mom's home cooked meal, you know what I'm saying? Or for grandma's cookies. Like, if that's what we inherit, then that's amazing. But the truth is, it goes beyond that. Oftentimes, without you recognizing it, we inherit the thinking of generations before us. When you find somebody who is on government assistance, oftentimes when you look deeper, you recognize that their mother was on government assistance, their grandmother, their great-grandmother, their great-great-grandmother. It is generations that are on government assistance. When you find teenage pregnancies, again, oftentimes you find it's generation after generation of teenage pregnancies.
This is doing a presentation on this.
Abuse and physical abuse and sexual abuse, the list goes on, because we continue to inherit a bill that we didn't ask for, and when we're not careful, we pass it on to our children. We need to ensure that we are the ones who break the cycle, because our children inherit something that we pass down to them that they don't deserve and they don't need. See, my parents are from a beautiful country within the Caribbean. And in fact, they were raised within the country area, the real rural area within this country. Now, at one point in time, my parents, they migrated right here to Canada. I'm in Toronto. And although my parents were able to bring some amazing, beautiful traditions and the foods and some really great things, what they also brought with them was a poverty mindset. And as I grew up, my siblings grew up, I found that same poverty mindset was being passed down to us. Now, as a father myself, I recognize that there's certain cycles that have to be broken, because I made a commitment to my own children that I would give them the tools that they need to be successful. If you are a parent, that at some point in time, you have made this commitment to your children as well, that you will give them all the things that they need to be successful in life. It wasn't the president that came down and said it. It wasn't the prime minister. It wasn't the CEO. It wasn't the principal at your children's school. You made that commitment to your children, that you were going to give them the tools they need to be successful. And sometimes that means that we have to break cycles of bills that are being passed down to us, so to make sure that we do not pass them on to our own children. One of the bills that I inherited was a poverty mindset. Because growing up, my parents, we didn't really have a whole lot of money that was flowing through our household. Although my parents worked extremely hard, sometimes they worked more than one job. At times, we had a hard time financially. There was times that I would come home from school and turn on that light switch, and nothing would come on because the bill wasn't paid. I had no idea that the water could be shut off until I learned that when you flush that toilet, the water goes down, but nothing comes back up. Because again, the bill wasn't paid. And so I decided, because I have to do things differently for my children, there's certain cycles that have to be broken within my family. As much as I love my family, as much as I love my parents, they gave me everything they could. And a lot of that was positive, but it's my job now to ensure that the things that weren't as positive, that I change that for my children. And again, one of them, at least for me, was a poverty mindset. See, a friend of mine gave me probably the best parenting information that I could have ever received. He said, Jeff, don't give your children what you didn't have. Give them what you didn't know. I'm going to repeat that because someone really needs to catch that. Don't give your children what you didn't have. Give them what you didn't know. Growing up, again, we grew up in a poverty type circumstance, but now, as I said, it is up to me to change, to break that cycle so my children see something different. So now, because I'm older now, I took it on myself to break the cycle that was passed down to me, that was inherited to me from my family. So I took it on myself to break that cycle. Because my parents weren't really good with money, I have learned to do some research and to do some work within money and finance management, with personal development, so I can become a better person. And so now for me, just maybe 10 years ago, I was able to learn stock investments. And because I understand stock investments, I've been able to set up a portfolio that's a lot better than what my family had growing up. But this is the thing. Again, don't give your children what you didn't have. Give them what you didn't know. And because now I understand stock investments, I understand what it is to put money aside and have your dollars work for you just as hard as you worked for them, I have passed that on to my children. I have 3 young kings at home, 11, 8, and 3 years old. And my 2 oldest children, the 11 and the 8-year-old, they both understand the stock market. They know what a bull and a bear market is. They know when a company goes public, what an IPO is. They know what a dividend is. They understand this. And get this, I just learned this within the last 10 years or so. But because I'm teaching my children this at 11 and 8 years old, who will they be in 5 years? Who will they be in 15 years? How amazing will they be when it comes to finances as they become fathers themselves? There's bills that are being passed down to you. And many of us, we don't even want to acknowledge it. You know, someone told me this once, there are 3 sets of secrets that all of us have. The first set of secrets is something that you would only tell a very, very, very good friend. The second set of secrets is something that you wouldn't even tell that very good friend. The only person that knows about that secret is yourself. And that third set of secrets is the ones that you won't even tell yourself. The ones that you would never even admit to. And until you can start admitting to some of those secrets, that's how we start to change the cycle. And some of you've allowed some of these bills that you've inherited, they are hiding within that last set of secrets that you don't even want to see. You know that they're there, but you don't even want to acknowledge them. But to give a different life for you, to give a different life for your grandchildren that probably aren't even here yet, you have to be able to admit to some of the things, some of the faults that have been happening within your family. You have to be able to put yourself out there and to make change to break the cycle so it doesn't get passed on to your children, so it doesn't get passed on to your grandchildren. The decisions you make today will dictate who your children are, who your grandchildren are, and who your great-grandchildren are, based on the decisions you make today. So if there's a bill that's been passed down to you, if there's something that's been given to you from family before you, a negative mind thinking, a racist mind thinking, discriminating mind thinking, a low self-esteem, whatever it might be, poverty, whether it be drug abuse, alcohol abuse, physical or sexual abuse, whatever it might be, you have the ability to break the cycle. You can do it because your children are counting on you, because your grandchildren are counting on you. God forbid if you don't allow this thing to end with you today, your great-great-grandchildren, children that you will never meet, are going to be doing things because you did not break the cycle. What bills are being passed down to you? And what can you do to break the cycle? My friends, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. My name is Jeff A.D. Martin. Please get in contact with me. I would love for you to join my masterclass every other Sunday. Get in touch. We'll speak more about it. One love.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? And here is Jeff Martin. Thank you so much for joining us live. This is so exciting. I think everyone was touched by that message. Any comments, any questions for Jeff?
Yes. So Jeff has been an inspiration. I met him about 4 or 5 years ago, and I just wanted you to share with them. So one of the things he does really well. He speaks to youth, the children at schools, and Jeff, can you share them the story? It's my favorite, the one when the girls walked up to you because they didn't have no dads. Remember? Because you're a really big guy and he speaks a lot to the students. Can you share that story?
Absolutely. First and foremost, Karen, thank you so much again for allowing me to speak. Des, thank you very much for everything you just said. It's definitely heartfelt. Yeah, so some years ago, I went to speak at a school and I gave this presentation. And at the end of the presentation, there was probably about 15 or 16 young girls in the 8th grade that all came running up to me. And they all hugged me and they wouldn't let go. They just kept saying, thank you, thank you. They wouldn't let go. And eventually I'm like, okay, this is a little awkward. Like they just wouldn't let go. And then eventually the teacher came over and was like, okay, girls, you got to go back to class. Let's go. Come on, let's go. And they weren't really listening, but finally they went. And after they all left the area that I was speaking in, he came to me and he said, Jeff, I've never seen that before. Of all the girls that came to speak to you today that gave you that big hug, not one of them has a father in their life. Not one of them. He said, some of these girls are some of the baddest girls in the school. And I've never seen them be so attentive to the words that you were speaking while they were listening to your presentation. And it absolutely shook me because it's just a reminder that all of us have a gift. We have blessings. We have things that we really need to put out into this world, but we allow ourselves to be held back by other people's opinions, but by our own self-doubts, and we are robbing this world of a gift. Real quickly, there's a story I heard. There's a woman who had cancer, and she was in the hospital, and she was just eager to fight this thing and get out of the hospital. And the doctor was like, wow, like, this is amazing that you're really pushing to fight this thing. I'm glad you have this in you. Why are you looking to do this? Like, specifically, I just got to learn, like, is it because you have children? She's like, well, of course the children, yeah, but there's something else. She's like, your husband? She's like, of course, my husband, but there's something else. And he's like, what is it? And she said, there's a bakery down the road from my house. And every time I walk in, the smell is just the best smell you've ever smelled. And I always love going in and buying just one cupcake and just having it melt in my mouth. That's why I need to get through this. And so you're talking about a bakery. And that is the reason, a cupcake, that is the reason why she wants to survive cancer. The person who owns this bakery probably has no idea. But it's just an opportunity to show that all of us have the ability to do something great, whether you are a baker, whether you are a sewer, whether you are a speaker, you are a singer. We all have gifts that we can give to this world. And when we hold back on it because someone told us it's not gonna be a good idea, or when we allow our own thinking to say, no, we talk ourselves out of it, we are robbing this world of a gift. And so again, that story, Des, thank you for bringing that up. It's just a reminder with those young girls or anything that we're doing. If you have something that you love, if you have an idea that has come to you, it has come to you for a reason. And it's your job to put it out into this world because there's somebody else who can be healed by it, who can learn from it, and who can be blessed by it.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I think all of us are going to be crying.
Jeff, are you like my brother? Are you my brother from another mother? Like everything you said was just speaking to my soul. Like I love everything you said. I really love that you talk about the poverty mindset and breaking cycles, because I think that too often people don't recognize it as something passed down to them. And a lot of people, I know Des and I have had conversations about like our money story and our relationship with money. And it's just not about money. There's all kinds of cycles. Like you said, there's like trauma cycles, there's abuse cycles, there's all kinds of things. And I love how you put it, because in my presentation as well, I actually said, give your kids what you didn't have, but I like how you said it better, because that's really what I meant. I really meant to say, like, give your kids what you didn't know. And that was like the premise of my talk. So I love that you phrased it that way, that give your kids what you didn't know versus what you didn't have, because too often I think the autopilot connection is just like more to material and like tangible things versus those really enrich our children's life and really set them up. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I love what you said too. It made me think of Rich Dad Poor Dad with Richard Kiyosaki, about how
Yes.
like poor is a mindset, broke is a like a temporary condition kind of thing. So yeah, that was just that really stuck with me. So thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful words.
Oh, my sister, thank you so much for that. Yeah, you're so right with everything you just said. So on point. And yes, we're obviously like-minded thinkers. So I love that.
Oh, Kim has a question.
I just want to say I am so on the same page with you, Jeff. It's the reason why I've started this course for parents on the basics of a nest egg. And I was just working on those words, on knowing the knowledge so you can pass it on down for generations. So I must connect with you outside of the summit.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Any way I can
Yeah,
help,
we're
please.
always
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, no matter where you are, we're able to connect and do things like this. So I'm definitely interested in talking and see how we can connect and do something great.
I'll
Jeff?
find
Sorry. Jeff, can you tell them again? I know you said it in the video about the master class.
Yeah, so every Sunday, every other Sunday, we have a master class, 2 p.m. Eastern time. I know it's going to be different times all around the world, but 2 p.m. Eastern time. And it's just a group of us who are really coming together just to raise our level of awareness in so many different areas. One of the things I love to say is that if you want to become a millionaire, then you have to hang out with millionaires, because the conversation is different. And whether we are speaking about money, whether we're speaking about spirituality, whether we're speaking about, physical awareness, whatever it might be, when you hang out with the people who are like-minded, it's going to push you in that area. And the whole idea is to really push us to become the best version of us. And so we speak about a lot of different things, and different topics are covered. The last session we had was on real estate investing. An area where it's a great opportunity for us to grow our own financial wealth. Coming up, I'm trying to get a hold of someone who's into forex trading, so foreign exchange trading. We've also covered off things in regards to I'm sorry.
I know about forex trading. I was doing forex for a little bit. If you want to have a conversation.
We definitely need to have a conversation, because I'm so interested in learning, for sure. I don't know anything about it, so I'm interested in learning. We've covered stock investing as well. That's an area that I really love to be a part of. But then, of course, we talk about us and our thinking. We kind of covered off, are you living your highest purpose? We speak about overcoming fear and becoming the best version of you. And these are the topics that we're looking to cover. Again, just always pushing ourselves to be better. And yeah, that is the masterclass that started a number of weeks ago. I'm so happy that Des has been able to jump in to a couple of sessions, and sessions to come. And yeah, it's just all about growing and becoming, again, the best version that we can become while we're here.
Wow, thank you so much, Jeff. This has been amazing. I'm so glad you're able to be on live. I'm glad that we were able to interact with you. How can you just add one more time, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can Google me, Jeff A.D. Martin, or hit me on Instagram, Jeff A.D. Martin, or just straight email me, info@JeffADMartin. If you're interested in joining the masterclass, or again, just connecting in any way, sharing ideas and thoughts, yeah, please feel free to email me, info@JeffADMartin.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Please contact him. I know Jesslyn has been in the masterclass and says that it is amazing, life-changing, right, Jesslyn? So we are on to our next speaker. Thank you so much again, Jeff. Speaker number 2 for the day. Her name is Kim Minch from Texas. She's the founder of Real Life Parent Guide. Her book on Amazon is called My Mother's Footprints, a story of faith, calm, courage, patience, and grace. She has a monthly support and educational meetup. Her target market is moms of adolescents 10 through 25. So I'm right there with two daughters ages 19 and 25. And here is Kim's presentation. It does take the entire 20 minutes. The speakers had a 10-minute presentation followed by a Q&A. So since she's doing the whole 20 minutes, we will skip the Q&A section. But if you guys do have questions, please put in the chat. Desmond or Mello will be writing those down, and I will pass them on to Kim and get you the answers to that. So here is Kim. Is that going to be Des or Mello sharing the video?
Kim Minch, and my presentation topic today is the work of parenting, how beliefs from our childhood affect the way we raise our kids. Hold on, there we go. I want to cover 3 different concepts in the next few minutes. The first is the emotional needs of all human beings. We all have emotional needs, whether we're 2, 12, 22, or in my case, 53. The limiting beliefs that we take on in childhood, I'm going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk to you about the fact that parenting is our greatest opportunity to work through all of our childhood stuff. And in my 34 years of parenting, this is what I've come to the reality of, that parenting is really a super amazing opportunity to help ourselves grow up in certain areas. So let's get started. I wanted to share with you a little bit about myself first so that you know who you're listening to and maybe why you should listen. Again, my name is Kim Minch, and I am a real life parent guide. I'm a certified conscious parenting coach through the Jai Institute for Parenting. I've been in business since 2016. I specialize in working with moms and dads, but mainly moms, because they're the ones that come for help more often. Moms of kids between the ages of 10 and 25. So really dive deep into the adolescence period of time. I am married to my husband, Tom. We've been together more than 29 years, and I have 5 kids at this point. My 4 sons are 34, 28, 23, and 18, and then my daughter is 16. In the picture here, you see my eldest son, Nick, with the red beard, and his wife, Piper, is on the opposite side of him. So this is our little family, and I want to also let you know that because of some of the things that I've gone through in my own personal life, that's also led me to the work I do with moms of adolescents. I was a teen mom, so I had my eldest son at the age of 18, and it was obviously a very growing up period of time for me, a very quick growth period of time for me. But the other thing that I've been through as a parent that really led me to the work that I do was my eldest son, Nick's addiction to alcohol. In May of 2008, I got what I call my parenting wake-up call. He was living in our home state of Wisconsin, and my husband and the rest of the kids and I had moved down to Texas a year prior for my husband's job. And my son called me in May of 2008 and said, "Mom, I've lost the last 3 days of my life to an alcohol binge. It isn't the first time. I'm scared and I need help." And while I had some inkling as a mom that something was going on prior to that, that was the moment that I understood that I could no longer deny there was a real problem. And so taking my son and walking with him through his addiction to alcohol and into his recovery was really what prompted me to want to look back in order to move forward. So to look back at the way that I was parented, the way that I was currently parenting, and want to make some shifts. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk to you about today. Anyway, I'm blessed to say that my eldest is 11 years sober at this point, and I learned a lot in walking through addiction with him. So let's get started on our first concept, which is emotional needs. As I mentioned, we all have emotional needs, no matter what the age we are, no matter what age we are. So our little kids, our medium-sized kids, our big kids, and ourselves, we all have 6 emotional needs, and I'm going to go over those right now. The 6 emotional needs that the way we get those needs met is through our words and our behavior. Okay, so I want you to kind of think about your kids and their behaviors sometimes as we're going through this list. But we all have 6 needs, and that is the need for acceptance, affection, appreciation, attention, autonomy, meaning to be our own selves, to be individualized, and connection. So there are times when we may use our words and behavior in a negative way in order to get the emotional need met. What I'm saying is, if your child is having tantrums, perhaps it's not just them wanting to manipulate you or the situation. Perhaps they're just in need of some kind of emotional support. Maybe they need affection. Maybe they're looking for your attention. So it's important that as parents, we look at the behaviors and the words of our kids, and not just at the surface level of that they're going through, not just get frustrated if they're not listening, but to really think below the surface, like what could actually be going on here? What's going on for my kid in this situation that they're behaving this way? So part of being a parent is being a detective or a sleuth, right? It's trying to figure out what's going on beneath the surface emotional behavior that we're seeing. The experience that we have in childhood influences the way that we parent. So I want to tell a story actually, and this is from my book, and I'll talk about the book at the end. But when I was 6 years old, it was a summer night. I grew up in the state of Wisconsin, and it was a summer night. It was after dinner. My mom had run to the store or the grocery store or something. My dad was in charge, and I have 2 younger brothers. At the time, I was 6, and my younger brothers were 4 and 2. And we loved to go and play out on the swing set at night. So it was a beautiful night, and after dinner, Mom goes off to the store, and we went outside to play, and we had kind of one of those rickety old metal swing sets, like not real sturdy, but our neighbor right next door had like a playground quality, like poles cemented in the ground kind of swing set and a sandbox. And we were really close with our neighbors. They didn't mind us going to play in their yard, and they happened to be actually away for the weekend, so we weren't bothering them anyway. So we went over to their house, and on the way over, the yards were very small, so my dad could see us. He was fully in control of what was going on. My brother and I, as we were running to the neighbor's house, I said to him, let's have a race on the swings to see who can go the highest. And my 4-year-old brother was like, absolutely, let's do it. I don't think he said it that way, but bottom line, he was in. So the 2 of us ran to the swings while my youngest brother ran to the sandbox to play in the sandbox. Well, Paul and I, my brother, we were swinging, like trying so hard to, pump our little legs to go fast. And of course, being the biggest sister, I of course wanted to win. So I was very immersed in this race. Well, I started at one point out of the corner of my eye to see my littlest brother start to toddle over. He wanted to swing as well. And I yelled out for him to stop. And of course he was 2 and didn't understand that. And I knew what was coming. I knew what could happen, but it all happened so fast that I couldn't stop in time. So what happened was that the swing hit my brother as I went up. And then unfortunately, when I came back down, it hit him as well. And I can remember as a child, that feeling of hitting him and the swing hitting him, and just the deep hit in my stomach that I, had hurt my brother. Like I knew he was hurt. And so he started crying. Obviously the swing stopped. I jumped off. My dad came running over. Of course, this all happened. And immediately my brother and I knew that the summer night, so the way, the fun we'd had just 2 minutes before was over. So my dad was looking after my little brother to kind of, I'm sure, assess the situation and see what was going on. My brother was crying, and I tried to explain to my dad, this is what, I was trying to tell him what happened. And he kind of looked away from my brother, looked at me, and he said, go to your room right now. And I immediately knew that it was definitely time for me to go to my room, and that I would just, I just felt sick because I didn't know what was going on with my brother. So a little while later, I was up in my room. A little while later, my mom came home. She took over my little brother to assess again. Did he need to go to the hospital, the doctor, what was going on? My other brother, Paul, the 4-year-old, was up in his room. So my dad came up the stairs and took care of my little brother and getting him to bed. And then he came in and addressed me. And of course, I had been crying and worried the whole time because, again, I was just sick that I had accidentally hurt my brother. And my dad came in and said, you should have known better. You're the big sister. You should have known better. And I tried to explain to him how quickly it had all happened. And he said, you should have known better. And he spanked me. And it was in that moment that I took on the belief that I'm not worth being heard. And for many years, I felt I didn't raise my hand at school. I was always very shy. I went along with things as a teenager that I didn't, that I shouldn't have at times because I didn't know how to use my voice. And I don't tell you this story to throw my dad under the bus at all. I'm telling you the story because even in the most benign moments of childhood, we can take on beliefs about ourselves that play out in our adult relationships. So I want you to think about not that, oh my gosh, how have I screwed up my kid? I don't want you to think that at all. I want you to understand and look into your own lives and think about what you may have inadvertently and unconsciously taken on in childhood that still affects you today, and it affects the way you're parenting. I can tell you that it affected my parenting and my marriage for many years because I felt often disrespected and not listened to in my mom voice and in my role as a wife. So let's define what a limiting belief is. So a limiting belief, and that's what we're talking about here. That's what I'm talking about, what I took on that summer night in Wisconsin as a 6-year-old. A limiting belief is something we take on unconsciously in childhood that leads us to a belief about ourselves that isn't true. The unconscious belief can have influence on who we believe we are, what our relationships look like, and it can stop us from becoming our truest, highest self. Okay, obviously me here talking to you, and I do presentations all the time now, I have shifted and gotten past the belief that I'm not worthy of being heard. But that is the work that I'm talking about in parenting. So we take on these unconscious beliefs about ourselves in really, it doesn't have to be some kind of major of life event. It can happen in an everyday event. So the important thing is to understand that our children's behavior, okay, which we just learned a little while ago, our emotional needs, that affection, attention, appreciation, those 6 things, we always are looking to get our emotional needs met through our words and behaviors. Now, sometimes they're not appropriate behaviors, they're frustrating behaviors. And when we're a parent, some of those things that our kids do and say trigger us. So what are the top parenting triggers, the top things that parents really understand? They go from somewhat calm to completely explosive. The things that really get under our skin are whining and crying, not listening, intentional disobedience. We get very, very triggered at times if we hear our kids say, I hate you. We can get very triggered by our kids' physical abuse at times. Let's think about I remember when my son, who was probably 8 or 9 months old, my 4th son, bit me on the cheek, and he was doing it in a loving way, but I was smiling and he bit my cheek. And I remember that immediately set me off to feeling angry when he was just showing affection. So physical abuse can be a very triggering thing for parents. And then if you have more than one child, it's sibling fighting. So these triggers are, they come about not only emotionally. Think about a time when you were a parent and you had your child behaved in some way and it set you completely off. Just think about a moment like that. Now I want you to go back and think about what was really happening there. Was there stress? Was there something going on in your life that exacerbated the moment, the situation that you were in with your child? Was your child really manipulating the situation, or was there an emotional need they were trying to get met that wasn't being met? So I just want you to take a moment to kind of think about that. So like I said, over many years of parenting these 5 unique individuals who have come through my body, I have discovered and decided that the work of parenting is 4 steps. 1 is to raise an awareness. It's to ask yourself, when I'm being triggered, first of all, what's going on for me? So it's learning to pause rather than immediately react. And that's a practice. I'm under no delusion that you can all of a sudden do that, in one day. If you can, great for you. But usually it's a practice over time of being able to stop, pause, and respond to the situation from your emotional, not your emotional brain, your logical brain, rather than your emotional brain. So start really paying attention in your parenting to when you're triggered, what's going on, what's contributing to that, what's going on for you beneath the surface, and how does it feel inside your body? What I've heard from parents is that when they're triggered, they can feel like prickles going up the back of their neck and up into their head. They can feel like sweaty palms. They get a sick feeling in their chest. So what's going on for you when you're being triggered? What's going on physically? That's one of the things that's important to know. Then after you gain some awareness, really take the time to identify what's going on beneath the surface. When you're in these situations, when your kids are triggering you, what's going on beneath the surface? What's it really all about? Is it about a belief about yourself? Like, I'm not worth being heard. Like that was for me, right? Which clearly isn't true. And that leads us into the third section. So we've got awareness, identity, and then begin to question. This belief that you've decided you've identified in yourself, is it true? For me, of course it's not true that I'm not worth hearing, but that was playing out in my head subconsciously over and over and over again. So therefore, my kids picked up on that and didn't listen to me. So the truth is, I am worth hearing. I am worth seeing and hearing. Where did that belief about yourself come from? And if it's not true, like mine was, about not worthy of being heard, what is true? So the work of parenting is to figure out, why am I being triggered? What's going on beneath the surface? Is it true? And then reframe it. Redefine the belief into what serves you better in the relationship you're having to yourself and the relationship you're having with the most important people in your life. And then it's about practicing. Every day, when my daughter still triggers me, right? And she won't listen, or she doesn't follow a rule, a curfew, whatever that I've set up. On the occasions that she does that, I have an option. I can either go back to my old belief of I'm not worth hearing, or since I know that's not true, I can make a decision that that's not the case. I am worth hearing. This is about her and not me. This is adolescent behavior. This is pushing the limits. This is testing the limits. This is not about me, and I'm not worthy of being heard. So getting to know that, and then reframing and deciding how to respond to her instead of being triggered and feeling bad about myself because I think that I'm just not worth being heard. Does that make sense? So in summary, we all take on some false beliefs about ourselves in childhood. Yours may not be the same as mine, and You know, you may not have had a swing situation, but you certainly had something else. And our kids are going to be the same way. So please know that there's no perfect way of doing this so that your kids don't have beliefs, you know, limiting beliefs about themselves, because that just isn't the case. We are human beings, and we are, as parents, not going to be perfect. We're going to have stressful days and stressful moments. But when you know this information, you'll do better. You can't, what you don't, you operate with what you know every single day. I live under the notion that all parents, myself included, are doing the best they can with what they know. And the fact that you're here learning this weekend is absolutely fantastic. So parenting offers us the opportunity to be able to look back and then move forward with beliefs that better serve the relationship we're having with ourselves and with those we love the most. So that's what I want you to get out of this particular session that we had. So I want to thank you for listening, and I know I'm going to get the opportunity to answer questions live, and I'm super excited about that. I just wanted to mention that I am an author of a book called Becoming Me While Raising You, A Mother's Journey to Herself. It launched in July of 2021 and actually made new release on Amazon under the category of parenting, adult and child relationships. So I look forward to answering your questions.
Isn't that amazing? We are going to give you guys an opportunity to chat privately. You can either, well, chat in the chat box if you have questions. Mello or Des will be writing them down, and we'll relay those to Kim. I'm sorry that she's unable to have time, but I think that 20 minutes was amazing, wasn't it? I mean, it really makes us think about even like awareness, identity, the question, the reframing. So the next time we are in this, oh my gosh, how dare our child do this? We can remember that.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that you shared though that the because I think, I mean, as a former therapist, I think I used to teach this a lot, and people don't realize it about the emotional and the physiological connection that there is. And especially like we teach that to kids, right? Like we say like, oh, you feel your body getting tight or your heart beating fast. But as adults, we forget that too, that we experience those same exact things. So I love that she pointed it out, and like in that parenting perspective, that parenting role more so.
When sometimes, like we were mentioning, if we do not emotionally detach, we get so caught up in it, and then we react, and then we say, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Right. So that was just an amazing presentation. So we are going to be sharing my soul sister who I met in, gosh, was it 1995? I went to Maui with her. She was 23 at the time, a new teacher, and now she was the Nationally Distinguished Principal of the Year, 2019. She's been teaching for 27 plus years. 2021 Changer of the Changer of the Year Spotlight Award, June 2021. And let me add also that there's just, the list is endless, but I think knowing that she had a $25,000 grant to showcase awarded efforts to the project-based learning, to social emotional learning. And that's what, like Mello's been talking about, Dr. Tolley, I mean, every mental health specialist, we're realizing that it's not all about academics. It really is addressing the mental health of our children. So without further ado, let's watch Stacy Kunihisa, principal of Kanu'alani Elementary School.
Aloha. Hi from the home of the rainbows, Kanu'alani Elementary School. My name is Stacy Kunihisa. I am the proud principal of this elementary school located in Waipio. We're part of the Pearl City Waipahu complex area, and our school feeds into the Pearl City school system. So before I begin, a little bit of the tips that I want to share with you today, I'd like to share a little bit about myself and kind of give you a background of who I am, as well as just thanking Karen Gibson for this opportunity to be a part of this incredible summit. So again, my name is Stacy Kunihisa. I've been in education for over 25 years. It's been a long time. As a high school teacher, and then a resource state teacher, a vice principal, and then a principalship. Personally, I'm a mother of two. I have Cameron, who is a ninth grader now at Milani High School, and I have my son Chase, who is a senior at Milani High School as well. And I coached both of them in soccer for a good portion of their lives, and I played as well. So just a little bit about me. I played for University of Oklahoma, the Sooners, way back when it probably was not as competitive, but it was a really good experience. I really enjoy family time. We enjoy traveling. My husband loves to go to Vegas. We have gone to Japan many times. We enjoy that, and we're very sad right now with this situation. And we really enjoy food tours. If you haven't tried one, you should. I was humbled and grateful to be nominated and recognized as a 2019 National Distinguished Principal of the Year, as well as the Masayuki Tokioka Excellence in Leadership Award. And that allowed me funding for the school, as well as a trip to Washington to represent the state of Hawaii, which was just phenomenal, priceless. And most recently, I was named the 2021 Life Changer of the Year Award and the Teka Spotlight Award, which was very humbling as well, especially during this pandemic. So I'm here today to just kind of share some tips and tricks that you can use at home and in regards to school, as well as in regards to just life, especially during this crazy pandemic. As soon as we went into the shutdown, I wanted to still reach out to our families. We service about 770 students, K through 6. So I really wanted to stay connected to the kids and the families. So I ran a series called Parent Pointers. So if you're interested, it's on YouTube. And we just went day by day. I think it was every day I released a video about how to kind of cope with your child and with yourself. So this is just highlights from that, as well as some extra ideas. So number one, I would suggest that during this pandemic, at all times, monitor your feelings of yourself first and of your child. I think social emotional learning, this idea of how to navigate our emotions through this pandemic, is critical. And especially when they come to school, we do this with all of our students as well. And it's kind of like a feelings thermometer. You'll see here, we put it into a rainbow because we're a home of the rainbows, and I actually got this online. But you know, that happy is that green zone where you want to be. But you can also go left and right with different emotions. And sometimes we put numbers to that as well. So you create your own system and have your child be able to point to where they're at each day, or if they're older in the upper grades, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10. And I use that with my children all the time, my own kids. And where you at right now? And we label 5 as right in the middle. And then a 1 is like feeling really junky about life. And then 10 is, you know, upset and angry. So it's really just having that thermometer in your household and being able to, first of all, identify your feelings. Following that, step 2, and then talking around what does that look like and feel like in your home. 2, then, after you know where you're at, is having a toolbox. So being able to access a toolkit, no matter where you're at, to say, okay, if you're feeling nervous, here are some strategies you can do. If you're feeling tired, well, I guess you could rest, but here are some ways that you can combat that. If you're feeling angry or any of those emotions, just even assigning, I'm going to go back to this, even assigning words to those areas would help. And the older you get, you can pick up on a thesaurus and look for synonyms. It could be elated or joyful or anxious or scared, and those words are not on this thermometer as well, right? I would then, after being able to know, identify where I'm at personally, as well as for my students and my own children, then what strategies can I use to get to a more balanced place? Like, what do I need to do? So it could be, we practice Choose Love at Kanoenani, which is a really cool program. If you Google Choose Love, it'll give you home lessons that you can do. We do that as an entire school. We did 2 conferences on it, and our last conference we did virtually and had international guests. Over, 350 people attended. And it was all of our teachers sharing Choose Love curriculum and things they're doing in the classroom that you can even do at home. But what you can do is Google Choose Love, and there's a home component with free lessons that you can try out. But one of the components is taking a break. You know, it should be here somewhere. Taking a breath. You put one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly, breath in, and you can feel your chest raising up, and you count slowly, and then you blow out. And you can feel your diaphragm expanding like a balloon, and a deep breath in. And the students know that that's a brave breath, because one of the pillars of Choose Love, the first one that we're working on right now, is courage. And oh boy, do we all need some courage during these crazy times. So taking that brave breath, but looking at other strategies. I'll be honest with you, one of my close family members has anxiety, and we worked through, I put even on walls a toolkit of strategies to use and to be able to identify where I'm at, a strategy I can use that really made a world of a difference, to be able to identify what you're feeling and then have very specific strategies in a toolkit that anybody can access. Punching a pillow, screaming into a pillow, running around the house a few times, doing 100 jumping jacks. So there's different ways to release that nervousness, that anxiety, that stress, and most importantly is actually taking action and doing it. So one thing is knowing, okay, I'm not feeling well. Easy breath. But then taking that next step and doing something about it really makes sense. Third is really, this is a good strategy for anyone to use, is kind of a locus of control. There is an activity that we do as a school. You draw a circle around what you can control, and outside of that circle is what you can't control. And especially right now, during this pandemic, there is so much out of our control. Don't put that pressure on the arrows.
I gotta go anyway. Okay. I have to get ready. Yeah.
Okay. You can control your exercise, and those are critical components to leading a healthy, balanced life right now. Monitor how much time you're online or watching the news. Monitor your attitude. When you wake up in the morning, I used to have my husband we used to write in a gratitude journal every night, 3 things we were grateful about each other or about the day or about our lives. And, sticking together in your marriage or your relationship can be tough right now. It can be trying. So really finding time to do what's in your control, and then to make it a positive experience every day, that it's the best day of your life today. No matter how dismal it may seem, do what is in your control and really let go. Let go and release what's not in your control, because that is out of our control, right? So you'll see here it says, finding fun things to do, your kindness, your grace. We are bucket fillers. If you haven't read that book yet, go online and read How to Fill a Bucket. Every single child gets that book read to in our school. We have a whole bucket filling system for students as well as staff. And do you know, during the pandemic, we actually converted our bucket filling system online, and the community just took it and ran. We had grandparents bucket filling each other. The premise is this, because it didn't explain what bucket filling is. You have an invisible bucket over your head, and every day you're either a bucket filler, or you're a bucket dipper. And the book just gives you really concrete examples of saying a kind word, being grateful for somebody, standing up for somebody else, or doing something that just makes someone's day special. So you're a bucket filler, and your bucket gets full, or you're a bucket dipper. And that, of course, you can imagine is the teasing, the bullying, the picking on someone, the kind of snapping at someone when you come home from work. And the idea is to fill your own bucket, you fill others. So as you're filling others, you fill your own bucket. And that's in your locus of control, right? This is what I can control. So that's what I'm going to focus in on. So try that activity at home. And finally, this is a good one that I use even with my staff and myself. Choose a personal mantra. Like, what is your mantra that you're going to have during the toughest of times when you feel like, I just can't do this anymore? This is, I'm in over my head. Mine personally is, this too shall pass. So no matter what comes along, what comes our way, this too shall pass. Just hang on and we'll get through this together. It might be, hey, we got this, family. We got this. It might be, there's nothing we can't overcome. You can make up your own. You can make up a hand signal or whatnot. 3 tips in making your own mantra is make it positive, simple, easy to remember. And that's the areas of just making it reachable and attainable, so that you're able to remember that. So again, those are just some tips that I have for you, and hopefully
You got a line.
some ideas out of this. I do want to leave you with one more thought, one more idea. Like I shared with you, I have a family member who suffers from anxiety, and we've worked through it a lot together. I really like this book. I'm not selling it or anything because I'm looking for persons. What to do when you worry too much, a kid's guide to overcoming anxiety. And it really gives you, I mean, it's really good for you can see. It really gives you concrete steps if your child or you or anyone you know has just general anxiety and you're not able to overcome that. And if it's starting to control you, you want to make that difference. So again, I just want to recap for you as I close out and just thank you for your time and your energy and attention today. Number one is you want to have a thermometer of some sort, label your feelings, identify them. Number two, have a toolkit. Build a toolkit of strategies you can access no matter where you are in the thermometer. Number three, you want to know what's in your control and what's not in your control. Identify that, carry that with you, do whatever it takes. And finally, have a mantra that you share with somebody you love or the people that you care about and talk that through. Continue to be bucket fillers. Do read that story if you have a chance. And if you have any other questions or just want to reach out to me, I will share with Karen my information, but you can reach me at Stacie.Kunihisa, Kunihisa, at k12.hi.us. So regardless of whether you come to my school or not, or if you just want somebody to bounce ideas off of, or if you want to hear a little bit more, feel free to reach me at any time. Follow me on Instagram. Our school is at Kanoelani Elementary School. It's spelled right here, at Kanoelani Elementary School. And we're on Twitter at Stacie Kunihisa. You know how to spell it. All right. Thank you for your attention and your time, and best of luck to you. We're going to get through this. This too shall pass, guys. We will get through this together as a team, and just know that you have all the tools you need to survive through this, the craziest time of our lives. All right, until next time, as we say all the time at our school, aloha. Bye, everyone.
Wow, was that an amazing presentation? Thank you so much, Stacie. Any comments, any questions for Stacie? She is here for a few minutes to answer any questions.
Stacie, that was an incredible presentation. I haven't been in school 30 years, so it's been a while, but I would have loved to have you as a principal. Can you share with us what inspired you to become a principal, and what has been the guiding light for you as far as how you go about on leadership?
Thank you for that question, Deslin, and that awesome just bucket filler. As a matter of fact, it's my mother and my auntie who is actually in the room, I think. Auntie Sandy and my mother Eileen. And I didn't know they were going to be here, but they were both educators. So I think it comes from a place of my family is full of educators. They're very full of the Spirit of the Lord and just moving in people's lives in their own way possible. And I mean, it's a Sunday, so I can say this, but with God, all things are possible. And I think He has gifted me with the ability to follow in my auntie's footsteps and my mother's footsteps to just try to make education a better place for kids. So thank you for that question.
Welcome.
Any other questions?
Also, you shared
Eileen.
about bucket filling. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Eileen Clark.
I actually like that book. I use that because I was in DOE too. So for Mokihana, we used to use that a lot at an elementary school because I think that was when it kind of came out as kind of like a standard use kind of thing. But I really do like that. And I think for kids especially, and even parents alike. But what I really liked about your presentation is all the stuff that we teach to the kids, we forget as adults that it applies to us. So we're always like, don't do that, or be kind, or, don't lose your temper. And then we are unstated, like, do as I say, not as I do. So I really like that you pointed that, like, literally, I mean, the things that we teach our kids, if we stopped for a moment and took that in, that would probably improve us a whole lot. But I like the bucket filling because it's such a concept that, like, anybody can relate to, right? You're either filling somebody else's cup or you're stealing something from their cup, you know? So thank you for sharing that.
You know, I gotta tell you a very fast, quick story. We did that, and some of our staff didn't buy into it. But one of the kindergarten students, as a little girl, her mother was at home, probably swearing, throwing dishes, really after a long day. And the little girl said, "Mom, stop and take a brave breath." And the teacher was sharing this story in the faculty meeting, and she broke down and she cried. And she said, "This is why, as a school, we need to take this on, because we adults, we suck at this. I mean, because we get so caught up in our own stress and then we blow up at everyone around us, right?" Thank you.
I think that was really powerful too. Sorry, I just want to tack onto that because like I've given my kids permission. Like if I'm losing it, guys, like just tell me like crazy lady, what is going on? I mean, we tell our kids to do those things, but they have that fear too, right? In that moment, like, do I say that? Is that going to make her more mad or more upset? But I love that they're like that story is so powerful that a kindergartner was able to tell, you know, like take a breath, you know, and I'm sure that mom was kind of like, oh, okay, you know, like so that is so awesome, like to hear it coming from a little person, to know that this information that we can really impact the way our children are gonna live their future and their lives.
Definitely. Are you gonna make us cry, Stacey? But I think all of us can relate to that, right? Because you're in the middle of it and then you think, I just lost it, right? Anyone else? I don't know if Eileen was just waving. It looked like she was going to say something, but oh, here, Shala.
I wanted to just share, you know, your leadership, Principal Stacy, just resonates. I mean, just your words, your strategies, and you can really feel that as a leader. It resonates to everyone. And today, with what's going on in the world, many schools need to be reminded. So thank you. I'll go take that energy and share it with our school. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Shala. Appreciate it.
Any last, we have about a minute before our memory coach from Israel is going to be sharing her video. Anyone?
I'd like to chime in though, as a principal though, leadership is this is just a real quick thing about leadership. Leadership is definitely a trickle down, and you know, it comes from the top and goes down versus, you know, having people just love or respect you. It really is, you know, to hear somebody else from another school like feel your leadership, that's really amazing. So thank you for being an awesome part of DOE, because we definitely need lots of awesome people in our education system.
I had a quick question since you're the principal. Do you have any suggestions of what we can do as parents to be, you know, involved with the schools to be a support? Because I know it's easy for us to judge like, oh, this is going wrong and whatnot. But what is one or two things the parents have done to help make it more of a collective situation with this whole pandemic?
One thing real quick is if you have time, volunteer at your school. Everyone is short-staffed right now. I have people coming in to help serve lunch. I mean, I'm in the cafeteria serving lunch some days. It's really tough. If you have time, reach out to your principal. Number two, give grace to the teachers. I mean, especially report card time, don't question the grades, just say thank you for doing your job every day. But you can have conversations around it. Why did my child get that grade? But the pressures on teachers and schools is tremendous right now. We're trying to hold it together for the entire community. And I think collectively we're doing excellent, including parents. So thank you for all that you do too.
Yeah, Melo's comment, yes, people don't realize how much the teachers do for our kiddos. Yes, exactly. It's just amazing how much stress they're enduring. And I really appreciate you, Stacy. I've known her long time ago, back in the mid-90s, when you just started teaching. And look at you, national distinguished.
Look at you.
She just met me when I was shortly divorced, not knowing I was just a teacher. Remember, I just became a teacher. I was like, Stacy, do I know how to do this special ed teacher role, and burned out? And here we both are. So thank you so much, Stacy. I know you're at the beach right now with your kids. Enjoy your Sunday. And I'm so glad. So that's Eileen and
Auntie Sandy. Hi, Auntie Sandy. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Auntie Sandy. Okay, and hi. Thank you so much for supporting her. You guys have an amazing woman in your life. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to Rina Utkowski. She's from Israel. She's unable to be here because of the time difference. I think it's close to midnight or just way past her bedtime. She's a mother of 4, twins included. International lecturer on aging topics, teaches online memory improvement, and I will be sharing 3 memory exercises that I invite you to do yourself as well as share it with your family. And here is Rina talking about memory and how mom, sometimes the stress does affect our memory, right?
Hi, I'm Rina Utkowski. I'm a social worker and a memory coach. I teach online memory improvement courses to midlifers and seniors usually. But I want to thank Karen for giving me this opportunity to speak to you. And today we're going to talk about parenting in the pandemic and focus and attention and what we can do to improve our focus and attention and what that has to do with parenting and how we can help our children as well. So we'll try to get that all into this quick 10-minute presentation. And then at the end, Karen will do some great brain exercises, interactive brain exercises with you that I've given her. And that you can do that to help your brain activity and brain stimulation, and you can do it with your children. And they're super fun exercises. So make sure to stay on to hear that from Karen. Okay, so let's talk about memory and focus. You know, a lot of times we blame our memory on what's really our focus. So I throw my keys down and I say, oh, I can't remember where I put my keys. Well, guess what? It's not memory, it's focus and attention. So what happens, and then what happens? What do we say to ourselves when I can't find my keys? Do I go, oh, I'm such an idiot? Or I'm too old to remember this? Or what's wrong with me? Am I getting dementia? So if you're saying that to yourself, that's your self-talk. And as Jim Quick says, if our brain is a supercomputer, then our self-talk is the program that it runs on. Now, if you say those negative things to yourself, guess what your children hear? Your children hear, oh, my mommy says she's an idiot, or my mommy says she's too old to remember. My mommy says she can never remember names. Guess what the kids hear and internalize? So when they don't do well on a test, they say, oh, I have a really bad memory, or I can't succeed. So we are role models for our children, how we talk to ourselves about our memory. And it starts there. Because if we believe that we can remember names or numbers or a list of items, then we can. Whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you are right. I'll say that again. Whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you are right. So how we speak to ourselves about our memory and focus is very important because we're role models for our kids. If we want our kids to believe in themselves, to do well and be able to focus and study and remember the information, guess what? They have to hear us saying, I can do this. I have a great trick, tool, technique to remember this. And we can even teach some of those techniques to our children. I do that all the time when my kids studying and they say, how could I remember this? I give them a quick mnemonic, or we make up a great visual image or some way that they can actually remember it. And that's what I do. I teach all these techniques in my courses. So self-talk is very important. So what you want to do is you want to sort of change that script for yourself so that your children hear a different script so that they can be more positive in their own minds and brains. So that's the first thing I wanted to mention was about self-talk. The second thing I want to say is that when we are multitasking, when our children come to us with anything, whether it's important or not, and we don't look at them, and we're on our phone, or we're on Facebook, or we're on our computer, and we go, sometimes I say yes when I mean no, sometimes when I say no when I mean yes, and sometimes I don't answer because I'm not listening. What is the message the kids get? The message is I'm not important, or I can't vie for mommy's attention. So it's so important. We all know this, but we're all so distracted. It's so important to turn to the kid and say, and look them in the eye and say, I'm listening to you now. Even if I was in the middle of a task on the computer, I turn to them and say, okay, I'm listening to you now. And then I listen to them and give them an answer. They might then leave the room and I can continue doing what I'm doing. But it's so important to give them that attention and focus. Because later when they say, mommy, but I asked you that and you said yes, I'm like, I don't remember. Well, why don't I remember? Because I wasn't paying attention to them. So this is where it's the focus and the parenting goes so hand in hand. So making sure you're giving them your full attention and not multitasking. Multitasking is a myth. It actually trips up our brain. We become less creative when we multitask. It stresses us out. And it actually lowers our IQ by 15 points temporarily. Don't worry, temporarily lowers our IQ by 15 points. So even though we're very busy and we have in our heads that if we do a lot of things at once, we're more productive, it's a myth. We really need to be doing one thing at a time for ourselves to accomplish, and definitely with our children. Another example, when 3 of my kids speak to me, I have 4 kids, but when 3 of them speak to me at once, I can't hear them. I can't answer them all at once. So I say to them, guys, I can't hear you all at once, one at a time. I'm happy to hear what each of you have to say, one at a time. And I do that so that they know that I want to listen to them and that I'm going to give them the attention that they need. So that's the second point I wanted to make. And the third point I want to make is, how do you feel when someone asks you for 3 things at once? When you're, well, even if it's one kid saying, where are my sneakers? What time are you picking me up? And why can't you buy me the lollipop I want? You sort of feel overwhelmed and too, over sensory stimulation, right? You know that feeling when there's too much coming at you at once? So guess what? Our children also feel that when we demand too many things from them. So if I say, put away your shoes, go downstairs and get me the paper towels, and who called today for me? So I'm asking them for 3 things at once, but guess what? They also can't multitask. We sometimes think they can, sometimes they think we can. And when we're younger, we get away with it, but as we get older, it gets more difficult, right? So when we give a kid 3 commands at once, what are we doing to them? We're stressing them out. And then we want to know, why aren't they listening to us? Why aren't they getting their sneakers? Why aren't they playing this way? Why aren't they playing that way? Guess what? They might not have heard us. They might not have even understood us. And they definitely didn't remember the 3 things we asked, because we asked for 3 things at once. So I think this is really important for how we communicate in our parenting. Ask for one thing at a time. Make sure they heard you. Make sure they understood what you're asking. And one thing at a time, so that you're not overwhelming them. So these are the 3 points I wanted to make in terms of parenting and focus. Of course, I have a lot more to say about this, where this comes from. One more bonus tip, and that is patience. We all feel like we don't have enough patience for our kids, because our patience, wears thin at some point. We're tired, we're hungry, we have a lot coming at us, we're busy. This is a really important point. When patience wears thin, switch to validation and understanding. So a kid's crying that they can't find something, and I have no patience to go look for their stuff right now. So instead of, I can grow more patience, or I can just ignore them. What if I say to them, gosh, that must be so frustrating that you can't find your sneakers. So now I'm not taking responsibility for them, but I'm understanding them and I'm validating. So I don't have patience to go look for their sneakers, but I'm saying, I understand that's frustrating. And that alone usually does wonders for kids. Try it. I just want to tell you for 1 more minute what I'm up to and how you can reach me. My business called Memory Matters, tips and tricks for midlifers and seniors, but I actually teach this to any age. So if you're younger, I can still help you. If you're concerned about your memory, if you're concerned about how you're aging, maybe you have a parent or grandparent with Alzheimer's. So it's scary, it is scary. And I really help people allay that fear and do a lot of good things, both lifestyle factor-wise and technique-wise, to age more gracefully and healthfully. And I'm teaching courses online, and I have master classes. I have a membership program. So check out my website. That's the best place to find me, is on my website. It's rinautkowski.com, RENAYUDKOWSKY.com. And feel free to send me an email, rina@rinautkowski.com. And with any questions or comments, happy to hear from you, happy to connect with you. And if you feel like you don't need any more memory tips, maybe one of your parents or in-laws do. And I'd be happy for you to follow me. I also have a Facebook group called Memory Matters, Tips and Tricks from Midlifers and Seniors. So there's lots of ways you can connect with me. And thank you so much for this opportunity. And Karen's going to share with you some really fun brain exercises now. Enjoy.
Was that something we all needed? I know I teach memory. Actually, I have Melissa Proctor here, and her daughters love the memory skills portion of our tutoring. Sometimes they'll say, can we skip the reading and just do the memory exercises? And that's how much fun. When students ask for memory exercises, you know that they have to be entertaining, because they are honest in what they find boring or something that they don't want to do. So you guys ready? The first one is called Alphabetized Adventure. I've been practicing this with my my family. So I'm going to just give you a word. because you can do it with your name, like Deslin's name. You can do it with what? Stephen, they suggest at least six letter word, but let's just choose the number, the word number. So if you can think about it, you can write it down even, but try not to write it down. Number, right? N-U-M-B-E-R. If you need to write it down, that's fine, because what you're doing is alphabetizing that word. So if you want to put it in the chat, alphabetize the word number, right? So you're putting the first letter. There's no A, but there is a letter after D. You see, I give like real good clues when I do this with my students, but let's see if who's gonna be first in the chat. We should give a prize to the person. Can Mello and Deslin keep that note? The winner of the Alphabetized Adventure. It'll be a secret surprise. It's Shala. B-E-M-N-R-U. That's it. Oh, Deslin followed her. Okay, so Shala, you get a secret prize that I will share later. The next one, this is something that it's called Have a Conversation Without the Letter E. At first, I'm just telling kids or parents. I told my husband last night, can you just practice this with me? And we just did a sentence. So he probably said something like, no, I don't want to do this. Or he probably said something that, he thought was funny. But you could do something. Someone came up with, I'm going fishing today. But what makes it challenging is the response. So when he said something like, no, I don't want to do this, I probably said, you must do this. It's my birthday. Yeah, the whole month of September, I always say that. What day is it today? What month is it? Which is a clue to, just cooperate, be a cooperative husband. So can anyone maybe, did someone just say it? Oh, I will use this with our students for sure. So maybe someone can just write a phrase or a sentence without the letter E. This is so crazy. Mello, perfect. See, and the answer could be definitely, which has an E in it. Or is there another way to say yes? There you go, for sure.
Ahoy, you.
Use a pigeon, use like poetic license.
Use poetic language, use anything. It's just going to be in the chat, which will disappear unless Deslin or Mello write it down.
I'm just saying this. I have a little bit of disclaimer here. I have a little bit of experience in that one because when I was little in elementary school, in fact, I learned that E is the most common letter in the language. So it's already kind of in my brain to think of non-E words because that's how I used to win little games and stuff with other people when I was little.
Oh, wow. So you have experience in the eliminate E.
Mine is hoy, H-O-I, and you, hoy you, which is in pigeon, like I'm talking to you, like, hey.
Oh, that's right. Hoy, yes. Deslin has given me pigeon language.
Hoy.
Not only my empowerment coach and social media coach, but she's my pigeon coach. I grew up in Guam, so I did not know any pigeon when I moved here at the age of 10, but it's something interesting to learn. Last one, ready? Add up your phone number. This is, I always tell kids, it's the honor system, or I could give you, I actually do have numbers to tell you, but if you guys can try to practice doing your phone number, I would ask this for your kids because, ask your kids, hey, add up your phone numbers. I do a lot of mental math and it is honor system because my students can actually have the phone next to them or a calculator, but I do the Zoom board and then I put numbers up. And let's see what we have here. Wow, really fast. Oh, if we include 808, yeah, see. Sometimes you can include the area code, sometimes not. So Jeanette 42, Kim 17. So last thing I'm going to give you these numbers, okay? You can write them down and let's see who's the first one. So Deslin, this is winner number 2. Add up your phone number. Secret prize will be given out. 4, 7, 9, 3, 2, 2. So I'm going to repeat it. 4 plus 7 plus 9 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2. So 6 numbers. Same with your little kids. You can just say, 2 plus 3. Jeanette and I must be historic calculator moms. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 20. Okay, that 27. Who was that? Oh, Mello. Oh no, Jeanette. Jeanette said 27. Did I? I'm not looking. I don't know if I'm looking at the chat correctly. Oh, because I did. Oh, who's the math teacher?
Jeanette's an educator.
Oh, okay. See, so you're an educator.
Best friend from Oahu, Karen.
Yeah, if you're a math teacher, I have some parents that say, you know what, I don't even know the multiplication table. I know that I call it the calculator addiction. And I tell kids, we should know just little tricks, because if you're in line, ask this for we do this as a family, estimate the number of the total price, right? And sometimes you can just guess. I always tell them, okay, you have 2 seconds. Let's test your intuition. You'd be surprised, and then sometimes I'm right. And they're like, is that your mom power? My younger one still believes that you have mom powers. So I'm not going to say anything because we all do have mom powers. So that wraps up. Just to summarize, you can do the alphabet adventure where you alphabetize, right? A word. You can even be, do like cat. If you have little kids, when they're just starting to learn the alphabet, and they can actually have the alphabet in front of them. Because I have like middle school kids, and sometimes it is easier to just see the alphabet and then they can, decipher that. Have a conversation. It can be without the letter E, without the letter O. Choose a letter, and then, when you're having dinner, having breakfast, in the car, we used to always do these little brain exercises, like the license plate game, where you just see like, WRX, and you have to come up with words. And then of course, lastly, add up either your phone number, I just thought your zip code, just any number. What about the date? You know how little kids don't know, like today is 09, right? 19/20/21, and you just add them up. And we are down to the last speaker, who is one of the co-hosts, someone that I just met her last March, and she is responsible for connecting me with a lot of the speakers. She connected me with Mello just I don't even think it's been a couple months. And now we have a parenting group called Aloha Mindset Parenting. Find us on Facebook, join the group, ask your questions, and if we don't answer them here, we meet every Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Hawaii time. But if you have questions, one of us will go, and we'll go in there periodically, and within, I would say 24 to 48 hours, sometimes we'll answer it, and sometimes a fellow member will answer it. We have about 87 members. So Deslin Hawkius, what can I say about her? She is, Mello's friend, right? And she is my empowerment coach. She is social media queen. She taught me how to use Instagram, TikTok. I was not into TikTok, and believe it or not, if I can do it, I have 100 parenting tips, all on TikTok. All 100 parenting tips on Instagram Live. I was not into Instagram. I think one of my daughters made my Instagram, and I had one picture for the past 4 years. And she's like, you can do it. You can do it. TikTok. Yeah, you can see me, follow me on Letting Go with Aloha. I'm a marshmallow and chocolate milk. I can be a cat. I can just do crazy things. And sometimes I see people, like my former boss or an attorney that I used to work with, and I kind of cringe, but Des is like, you know what? Have no shame, own it. And we just talked about some photos that I don't want public. And now that Living 808, they actually are going in and finding photos. And we just realized there's some photos that I might want to take away, because, we always have those photos, maybe in me in pajamas or something. But she found it. You can tell that I'm very high energy, because this is like the culminating presentation that we've started since, right? Planning started last April. So back to Miss Deslin Hawkius. Mello, they're both on Kauai. Call them my Kauai sisters. I would not have been able to host this summit without them. They came to my rescue many, many times. Videos were lost. Or yesterday, I know Kim, a lot of you guys were there when our internet just magically disappeared and Kim had to play her own video. So thank you, Kim Tutori, for playing your own video. Deslin founded Healing with Aloha podcast. And she is just going to be an amazing speaker as we close the Pandemic Parenting Summit. It will be annually. Dr. Tolley just said, see you next year. So I decided yesterday, yeah, we'll be doing it. If you folks know of anyone who would like to be a speaker, we'll probably choose 10 speakers. But you know, it's still in the brainstorming session. So Deslin, take it away. I think Mello is sharing the video.
Parenting at its finest. Fine, whatever, go ahead. See, as parents, we don't know what we're doing. And you know what? Your best is good enough. So my nickname is Mom, but my real name is Mom, 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 Mom. You know, as parents, we think when we're growing up, one day I want to be a parent, I want to be a mom, I want to be a dad, I want to be a caregiver, and then it comes. And you don't realize what's coming until it comes. And so let's visit how to parent during a pandemic. First of all, you have to be fine with what comes your way. 1 minute, the schools are open and the kids are in class. And next thing you know, they're distance learning. This past year and a half has tested parents in ways unknown. We weren't taught how to be educators in a school system. And let me explain. When you have a grade schooler learning Common Core math, it does not apply to any kind of math that you've learned. It's frustrating because the style that they're learning does not work with what you learned back in the days. Let me tell you, when my son was in 3rd grade, I tried to help him to do simple addition, and he still got the problem wrong. And when I went to see the teacher said, don't help your son. It's okay. He needs to learn and needs to struggle. I felt so insulted, like, how is it possible that I went to college and I can't do Common Core math? But you have to be fine with helping your child because you weren't taught to do the things they are learning. And to be quite honest, they are learning things that we never learned, or they're way ahead of what we learned back in the day when we were growing up. And you have to be fine and just encourage them to ask for help, or you ask for help from the teacher. And if your child does their best and they still don't get a good grade, it's okay, because we are not defined by getting letter grades. Your child's self-worth, your self-worth as a parent, because I know as parents, we can take it personal when we help our child and they still don't get a good grade, right? Like ideally we want an A or B, but when they start getting C's, D's, and F, then we just feel like the whole world ends. But it's not gonna end because their self-worth is not defined by their grades. And it's fine because your best and their best is good enough. It's all relative, what the teachers think and how they do the grading. A second thing, as a parent, you have to be all right with whatever. Having your child adjust to what's going on, your priority should be their emotional and physical well-being. And as much as we desire for them to be excellent, to do well in school and in sports, everyone, including ourselves, we're gonna have a different response to what we're going through in the world today. Like, this is real. These are changes that is constant. And some of us are dealing with loss of loved ones, loss of jobs. People are moving so that they can be closer to family, or because they lost their business. There's real challenges that we've all faced, and it's okay. It's okay to process the pain. It's okay to function. To you, you may feel like you're functioning on a low level, but really, you are just trying to adapt. And it's not easy. And when you give yourself permission to see success as just waking up and getting out of bed, making sure that you eat, the kids eat, they get to school, they come home, you go to work, if you go to work outside of the home or at home, and then you go to bed and you start all over again. Sometimes we feel like we're not moving fast or not being productive or progressing. But even if you're moving slow because you're going through some difficult times, slow is still progress, and it's okay to do that speed, slow, because reality is we can't compare our lives to the next parent, because what we're going through with our family is going to look different and be different. And lastly, you can go ahead and accept that your best is good enough. That other people may impose upon you, your parents, your grandparents, or the teachers, or society may tell you, as parents, you need to be positive, you need to be organized, you need to be all these things, right? But reality is different for each family. And you just need to go ahead and do the best that you can. And your best is good enough. I want you to write down, my best is good enough. And when you get the chance to, every day, when you brush your teeth, look in the mirror and say it to yourself, my best is good enough. Your best is good enough. My best is good enough. Your best is good enough, because it is. The judgment that others can have of you is none of your business. And you're not here to win the approval of people. And the relationship you have with your child is really moments. And these moments become memories. So
can you end that that wonderful sentence that just walked out? You said so.
It's so funny. I was like recording and it stopped recording. I was like,
okay.
I was like, I guess
Yes, you're done.
that was enough for this presentation.
It was enough. So, any questions? I think you ended it well by saying we all need to remind ourselves. We are good enough. She reminds me, guys, every day, because there are moments where I think, Deslin, I don't think I can do this parenting thing because I'm messing up. Or this summit is way more than I realized. So I really appreciate every speaker who did their volunteering efforts. Thank you so much. And everyone who showed up today. It's just amazing. It says, oh yeah, and then also a reminder to complete the survey. We have the link there. If you forget, you can always message me or email me. And any questions or comments about Deslin's, I mean, what a great way to end the summit, a reminder for parents, because, you know, we have like the financial education, we have like, you know, how to you know, help our kids during their journey and the mental health that we need to keep priority. But sometimes it's so overwhelming. Is there a way we can get the recording of these past 2 days? Yes, Mello, Deslin, and I are working on it. We're debating on whether to do 2 parts because it is a total of 4 hours. We might be doing it in 2 parts, but there will definitely be, you know, a replay available. Stay in your lane and don't get caught up in other lanes from Kim Tatori, our financial course creator. Yes, I think that's what I do. I go on everyone else's lanes. You know, like at the bowling alley, I look at everyone doing these strikes and my ball goes into the gutter consistently. And then I have Destin saying, it's okay. So what helps me, it sounds crazy, but I become that student in the classroom that I just failed whatever test, even though there's no test. And she told me the other day, Karen, you're still getting the A. And my little student in me was like, really? So whatever you have to say to yourself, this too shall pass. You know, you're going to get through it. Any questions for Des?
I just wanted to share that the reason why I emphasize the whole thing about you're not good enough, you are good enough, is because that's something I struggle with. Like, I don't always feel that way. A lot of what the other presenters said that, you know, like starting to talk about how bills are passed down to you. And there's things that people who told us in our childhood, they say things, and whether they mean to or not, they bring us pain. And we subconsciously, we remember those things. You know, it's there. It's not like you can visually see it, but it's there. And I noticed that I can say I'm not good enough. And I don't ever want to pass that down to my son. And so I'm constantly having to work on my mindset. And that's why I appreciate having Mello and Karen in my life, because they remind me, because on the intellect, we can remember things like, oh, I'm good enough, I'm smart, da, da, da. But on a heart level, that's different. And so I think it's really valuable to surround yourself with people that remind you to be confident. And we all have weaknesses, but sometimes you need cheerleaders in your life. And so I know I tend to be the cheerleader, but the honest truth is I have to unlearn 19 years of being around someone who struggled with addiction and who struggled with alcoholism and who got violent. And so I fear failure. I fear showing up publicly, because I always was told you're so effing stupid and dumb. Although that's not true. For 19 years, unlearning someone telling me that, it's hard. And so I'm just honored and privileged to be a part of this and to remind people that no matter where we came from or who taught us what, we can unlearn and do better. So thank you.
I like how you said, well, I like how you just said that, you know, just because we can't do our kids' homework or help them, because even me, like, I'm college educated, I have a master's degree, and then I can't do 3rd grade, like, ballpark estimates. I was like, I'm not as smart as I think I am. Like they had that show before, right? Are you smarter than a fifth grader? And then I was like, I'm not smarter than a third grader. Like I can't even help my own child. So I love that you said that, because I think as parents or just caregivers in general, like our kids look to us for help, and it's really on some level sometimes it's a little bit I don't want to say as bad as demoralizing, but I can't think of a good word, but like kind of just like, oh my gosh, I can't help this little person and they're looking at me, like just the pressure and the responsibility of trying to meet their need and not being able to, it leaves us feeling helpless and like you said, just dumb. And we're not dumb. It's just that things have tying back into the pandemic, right? I mean, everything has changed so much, and not just because of the pandemic, just time. Like we don't realize how much time changes things, and that things is included in our education system. So definite really like that, because I think we've all been there.
And I have a little story to share about that. I'm an educator. You know, people pay me for tutoring, and when I make mistakes, I feel like, you know, the parents will go, wait a minute, we're paying her and she doesn't know. Well, last week, my first grader had 2 wrong, and it's because just picture like 9 + 1, and you have to do 1 + 9, okay? So he had a little bar, and he had to color 1 like yellow and 9 orange. But in his answer, he had to put the opposite, 9 + 1. But I was so into him coloring, making sure that everything was fine, that we did not, you're supposed to do it in partners, right? That switch. So the teacher circled it. Mom showed it to me after she wrote this really amazing testimonial as a parent coach and as a tutor. I helped her child who's now 21 when she was 10, and I was just so embarrassed. I said, I'm so sorry. I guess I didn't read, you know, like 1 + 9, because you focus on the coloring, right? And she said, don't worry about it. I don't know how parents even understand this, but in the back of my mind, I'm saying as an educator, I should have known. And yeah, Mello, it's like, and Des, we need that reminder that even if you hire someone, and some of my clients are here, and if I make a mistake, I recently made a mistake with one of the participants here, and the daughter was like, Miss Karen, you were wrong. Miss Karen, you were wrong, right? You were wrong. And I said, yes, I am. And I used to say, I'm tired today, but I thought, you know what? She was, so you're wrong, right? I said, yes, I was wrong. Can you say that one more time? I was wrong. And I think kids love to catch our mistakes, you know, and when you put our ego aside, right, and just say, like Decimello always remind me, mindset, our ego, and really choosing peace instead of chaos. We have the last 2 minutes, guys. We did it despite these little technical difficulties. We have Sandy Davies from Australia. Happy Paws is here. And we have, I mean, I'm just blown away that all of you people showed up, and I've been asked, you know, is the replay available? I'll let you guys know. And if you, I think I have a lot of the email addresses, but if not, just share it. You can do either, I think people know Mello or Des. If someone referred you and you can't put it in the chat right now, you can always Instagram, Letting Go with Aloha. I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, also Letting Go with Aloha, all 100 parenting tips, and I have over 70 interviews there. So the upcoming interview is no pressure, Kim Totori, but she's doing a really intense Jay Shetty coaching certification. So I believe in October, we'll be doing her interview. But yeah, if you guys have any comments, let us know. This was our first attempt at hosting a summit. I had no idea how much, oh, Kim, thank you. Wonderful 2 days. Yeah, we did it. So now let the birthday celebration really begin.
Yes, my friend. You did it.
Oh my gosh.
Parents' birthday.
Sorry? It's my birthday weekend. Yeah, telling Thomas, because, you know, I have the birthday, the day of, but yesterday I said, you do know that it's the birthday weekend. I actually have a birth month, but his face, I was like, I know it's 10 minutes till midnight. I know it's going to be September 19th, but it's the birthday weekend. And you could say, I mean, his face was like, well, yesterday I had my little salmon on crackers, and I have to let you know real quick, he dropped the plate because I said, there's no internet, you know, and he's like as a Spectrum employee, he can just like magically, he's like, Karen, I called, they're not going to be, you know, it's not going to be up until 12:30. And I said, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. But inside I thought at 10 a.m., the internet just magically decided not to show. So today, I don't have salmon, but I requested this. It's peanut butter and jelly on Ritz crackers, my childhood favorite treat. So any last comments? We all did our best and we did great. Thanks everyone. I really appreciate it. I mean, Stacy showing up at the beach. She said today was beach day, but she was able to go in her car. I'm just blown away. Oh no, I'm gonna get emotional here. I'm just blown away at how supportive. I didn't expect to cry because it was something that started in April. I was on a Queena's Mom is Talking Summit, and then she said, you can do a summit. And I'm such a people pleaser. I said, sure. And then last month I thought, what did I commit to? But it all turned out great. Thank you. And I want everyone to enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm so glad that we ended on time. And if you guys have any questions or comments, please let Mess. I just combined Mess, Deslin and Mello's name. Mahalo everyone for the amazing words of advice. Oh, it's Melissa Proctor. Thank you, Miss Karen, for the years of tutoring her two daughters. Aubrey, yes, 9th grader with straight A's who struggled in elementary. I tutored her younger one, Brooke. I'm sure she won't mind. She's the one who said, Miss Karen, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And I was like, yes. So they keep me grounded. My students keep me grounded.
Where's Melissa from?
Oh, that's right. Deslin and Melissa know each other from Kauai High School. World is just way too small. I didn't know that Melissa was in band. It's amazing how I find little bits of the parents that I know. And thank you everyone. And as we close, Des, Mello, any final words?
You guys stay awesome. You're good enough. Aloha, guys.
We are
I
good
want to
enough.
say thank you so much for the opportunity. Everybody who showed up, people who showed up for 2 days. Thank you, Karen, for putting this together, because even me as a professional, like hearing everybody else speak, there was just so much really good stuff. And I feel like a lot of people missed out. So hopefully if you guys have friends, you know, that will benefit from this, share it, because I mean, I've shared some of these presentations just like verbally with some of my teacher friends. And you know, there's people here in education who have seen value in it too. So I just want to thank you for putting together something super duper amazing that, man, people don't realize what they missed out on.
Thank you guys. We have Amy